Christine, and I have been here at the Household of Faith since the 1st of August. Truly a blessing of God that I'm here. I was being evicted from my apartment because they were going to remodel the apartments, and I literally had no money, not enough money to rent a place or any place to go, and my children were saying, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Mom? What are you going to do?" And I said, "God's going to provide." I have 25 years clean as of January 1st. Started off of heroin. I had a mother and father who were both addicts. My father was an alcoholic. But I've had God in my life all my life from as a child. As a child, I was really, really sick a long time. Sick when I was in the 1st grade and I was dying. And I was in a semi-comatose state. And I heard the doctor tell my mother, "You need to prepare yourself because she's not going to last the night." And I thought to myself, "Oh, thank you. I can go home. I can let go." And all of a sudden, in the hospital room, I could see my mother and the doctor at the end of the room, but there was this glorious light all around me. And Jesus was there. I always had love of God in my life. Even though things happened where I started doing drugs, I always knew He was there. My mother pimped me out when I was in the 1st grade. So I was sexually molested. My mother knew, and she did it for money. And God saw me through that. God saw me through that. Other things happened, and I got into drugs, and I got into drugs bad, and my mother was an addict. And we did drugs together, and all the stuff that goes on. But it just seemed like always back there in the back, the devil was saying, "Come to me," and God was saying, "I've got her." So one day I was walking down the street, and I was so miserable, and I was praying, and I said, "God, you have to have a car hit me or get run over by a train, because I can't kill myself, because I refuse to go to hell. So you've got to take me away, because I can't do this anymore." Well, He didn't take me away. He took me to a place called Miriam's house, where that's where I got clean. They took me in. I had tried to go to rehab, and they told me, "You're such an addict, we won't waste our time." And they took me in, and that was one of the best things that ever happened in my life. I lived there for a year. I've gotten to do things that you wouldn't believe. I've traveled the world since being clean, been to China and Bangkok, and held a position as an executive in a big corporation. Heroin addicts don't do that. That doesn't happen. And that, and that was all my faith in God once I got clean. But I never really felt like I belonged anywhere until I moved here, until I met Myra and Laura. And I lost my son 4 years ago. He had been in Iraq. He didn't die in Iraq, but Iraq basically killed him. But if I hadn't had the Lord at that time, I know I would have been back out there. I would not have been able to handle it. So, there's just been so many blessings in my life. People say, "How can you believe in God?" I go, "I don't just believe, I know Him." I often felt really horrible that I felt like I blew it all because I became a heroin addict, but I didn't. God had me walk through what I had to walk through, so that I can help others, I guess, or whatever reason was, He walked through it with me.